G'day to all my friends and family, and welcome to this episode of Jim's 5am Club. It's late afternoon, Sunday, and I'm up here at Nelson Bay. I thought I'd just go for a walk, and in my usual form, I'd love to deliver a Jim's 5am Club, a book summary to all my friends and family. It pelted down rain last night. It was a very wet night. Lots of lightning, thunder, and the rain was sheeting down, coming in sideways. But today is a beautiful spring day, a gentle breeze. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk the foreshore here at Salamander Bay. Haven't done it for years, but it is a beautiful place. And not too many people about at the moment, so we'll make the most of it, where we can combine the beauty of this land around us, these beautiful landscapes, and also overlay it with a message of empowerment, a learning opportunity. So today what I want to do is take you through a book summary entitled A Brief History of Time, a book written by Stephen Hawking, the late Stephen Hawking, who passed away a few years ago. But he was a man incapacitated from a physical perspective, but it didn't stop him in terms of achieving or overachieving his potential and becoming a brilliant scientist and a world leader, somebody who's respected and recognised as someone of influence. So what can we learn from this book? Just so peaceful, I love it. The first point that he makes in this book here, so we kick off this book with an observation, and a very powerful, profound observation at that, where he says that intelligence is the ability to adapt to change. The ability to adapt to change is the ultimate mark of intelligence. And it's a real thought-provoking sort of quote, because we're constantly being pushed to change, to morph, to vary our approach, and some people are very stubborn, dig their heels in, and are not prone or capable of changing. We've seen this with the pandemic, which we've had at the moment with COVID. Now we've got a very small community of hard-headed, pig-headed people. I call them freedom wankers or anti-vaxxers, even though they don't like it. At the end of the day, you've got to call it as it is. And they're the ones who are spreading disinformation, misinformation, and trying to take people on their path with them. But as we say, and as we've learnt, you've got to follow science, you've got to follow medicine, and do whatever we have to do to protect our family and friends from whatever may come our way. So the first formal point to come out of this book by Stephen Hawking is where he mentions that theories, and science is based on theory, that theories can never be proven. We are all scientists in many ways, coming up with theories and observations, and we do it all the time. But what we do, though, is we are enabled to be able to test them. So we come up with the theories and we can test those theories. And at the end of the day, a theory is simply an educated guess. A theory is nothing more than a model which correctly or accurately explains a big number of observations. A theory isn't truth. A lot of people think that science is truth, but as Stephen Hawking reminds us, that all it is a series of observations that we've collated, we've collected, we've corroborated. I've just had I don't know if you heard that, but I just had a magpie just swoop, and his wings just slapped my head. So I need to be careful on the way back. I'm wearing glasses, I'm wearing a hat, thank God. But it's the first time that I've been swooped by a magpie, which is quite funny actually. But again, here it is, again, came down again. Pecked me on the side of the head. Just need to be very careful. So they're quite strong pecks actually. The hairs on the side of it. There he goes again. Third one. So we'll continue going and see if we can survive the pecking order of the magpies. There's one up there in the tree as well. But let's keep on going and hopefully we don't get an eye pecked out as we're doing this book summary. There you go, a bit of excitement for the day. But that's Australia. There's nothing more Australian than walking through the bush and having magpies swoop and attack you. That's very, very funny indeed. Anyway, let's keep on going here. So the good thing about theories and science, and we've got to be open-minded here as well, is that they enable us to make predictions about the future. They enable us to consider things and to look at what may be possible. Because it's happened in the past doesn't necessarily mean it'll happen again in the future, but theories and science is a way of capturing data, capturing observations, and just seeing if those observations continue into the future. So it's a powerful way of learning about our environment. We'll see when I go back there if I get attacked again by the magpie, but at this point in time I predict I will. But the good thing about theories, about science, is that it can be disproven if you can identify and gather evidence against it. So this is where scientists and Stephen Hawking reminds us that yes, by all means, science is important, science guides us, but at the end of the day all it is theory, and it can be proven right and it can be proven wrong at the same time. So the second point to come out of this book is a technical point. I don't know how much it's going to interest you, but he talks about that due to the constant speed of light, time is not fixed. So we talk about time because as humans, one of our greatest preoccupations is time. You know, using time, losing time, making the most of time, capturing time, pausing time. A lot of things happen with the concept of time. And this is where Stephen Hawking talks from a scientific perspective about time. And he says that from his perspective, from a scientist's perspective, time can most likely only move forward for three reasons. So we're just about to embark on a science lesson, so bear with me. So as I said, I'm not a scientist, but let's see where it leads us. So time only moves forward thermodynamically. There's something to think about. Time only moves forward thermodynamically. And there's also mentioned here that entropy is the tendency to increase disorder wherever possible. And I guess we all understand that if we leave things to nature, or if we leave things and we don't manage it or control it or try and manipulate it, the end result is entropy. So where things just collapse on itself. So the other point that Stephen Hawking makes here is that time only moves forward psychologically. So what does he mean there? So you can never remember the future. You can only remember things that have happened in your past, things that have happened, not things that will happen. So a couple of things to consider and to think about, because we don't normally sort of think about these sort of deep topics. But thanks to Stephen Hawking, he's been able to present these concepts to us to at least mull over. And the third point that Stephen Hawking makes in this book is that time only moves forward cosmologically. Because what happens is that the universe, this is something that I learned and it's quite profound, the universe is constantly expanding, and nobody can understand what causes the universe to continually expand. Scientists can't explain it. Nobody can quite get their head around why the universe continues to expand. And with that expansion, stars, planets, universes, galaxies, all of those things, the sun, the planets, every single thing moves further and further apart from each other. And I remember when I first heard this notion, I reconciled and I thought about my life and how everybody's life is that with time, sooner or later, we are all growing further and further apart. Children grow up, people grow older, people get sick, people move, they move to other countries, other suburbs, relationships break down, families break apart, children get married. There's a whole stack of evidence and reasons which tell us that we are constantly surrounded by this phenomenon where everything is constantly expanding, growing and growing further and further apart. And unless we do something about it, then what happens is that we all are subject to entropy, where things just collapse and break apart and nothing is joined together anymore. So the point that I'm trying to make here is that to maintain friendships, to maintain families, to maintain order, we need to constantly be working at it, to create it. Here's a little headstone here along the path. Dr. Neville Rothfield, OAM, loving father, grandfather and friend, forever in our thoughts. Just goes to show we're not here forever. So as the universe is constantly expanding, according to Stephen Hawking, so too entropy continues to take control. And according to Stephen Hawking, since entropy increases, it also means that time is moving forward. So there you go. So I'm at the end of the book. So thank you very much for joining me on this afternoon walk, this delightful afternoon walk, even though I've been attacked by a magpie who had a go at me 3 times, pecked at my hat, and they were strong pecks. And we mustn't ever take for granted our walks, because you can get attacked. And the scary thing is, people actually lose eyes. People are maimed from magpie attacks. I remember, I think last year or the year before, a young boy had his eye pecked out by a magpie coming down and just beaking him in the eye. And they're very, very strong beaks, because I see them often pecking at the ground and pulling out grubs, pulling out beetles, and you name it. So the magpies are renowned for their swooping, especially this time of year, because it's breeding season. The magpies have got young ones, and they do it to protect their patch, to protect their species, and it's the sort of thing that you and I would have done as well if we were magpies, to protect our family, our children, our loved ones, and our way of life. So there you go. Well, this is a beautiful walk. What I love about Australia, to all my Greek friends, is that if this was Greece, all of these houses, all of these residences here would have had their own private beach, would have had this area walled off so that nobody from the public could come for a walk and to enjoy this wonderful public space. But here in Australia, there is a level of civility where people are allowed to live on the water, close to the water, but at the same time there is a respect for the public, where we enable public spaces to be enjoyed by families and friends, and they're not the sole occupancy of people who live or who happen to live close to the water. I think it's a great idea. Anyway, I look forward to coming to you again from a different location with a different message, a message of empowerment, where we can live, learn and pass it on, where we can be partners in each other's growth and development, where we can leverage and learn from OPE, other people's experience. We are very, very lucky. We are very fortunate that we have lots and lots of books. Lots of books. Magpies everywhere here. Lots of books that we can relate to, we can refer to. And as Stephen Hawking tells us, that knowledge is something that we can leverage. Science is basically a collection of observations of things that have happened that can be proven right or wrong, but it's important to first collect those observations, to document those observations, to share those observations with others, so that we can test those observations to see if they are indeed valid and that they occur in different environments, so that we can make or we can continue to make theories. But as we said, it's never the truth, it's just a theory. Science can't prove anything, and science isn't necessarily the truth. So there you go. So we'll finish up here and we'll chat again, and I look forward to coming to you again from a different location here at Nelson Bay, where we can showcase the beauty of everything that we have around here and overlay it with a message of empowerment. Take care everybody, and I look forward to coming to you again. Bye for now.